So far, we've looked at the general tense, the real present tense, and 3 ways to talk about the past, depending on how specific or exact you want to be. Now, in an emergency, we can always use column 1 plus ing. It's not always perfect, but it's usually understandable from the context. The good news about the future is that it is all column 1. Let's have another look at the diagram from the end of the last film. On the future side of the page, we have the same shapes we had on the past side. So we can talk about the general future, the specific future, or a point of time in the future. Let's start at the top. This is very simple. All you need is will. I will, column 1. You, he, it, they, the Queen of England, George Clooney, the Bishop of Warsaw, and the Polish women's Olympic volleyball team will, column 1. So this is for the general future. It's when we don't need to say when it'll happen. When it will happen. I will go to China. She will be at the party. They will finish the vodka. He will find this. Very easy. The Polish women's Olympic volleyball team will not all fit into my apartment. My wife will not like that last joke. I'll now upset a few people again, especially the professors. Once upon a time, oh no, wait a minute, I've already done that one. When I was very young, my grandfather occasionally told me that I should have used shall instead of will. Now, historically, there was a difference between the words, and approximately half of the time, people got it wrong. The idea was that one of them was to express a wish for the future, and the other was for a simple statement of future fact. Unfortunately, for everyone who was sure that it should be will, there were as many people who were just as sure that it should be shall, and vice versa. The simple, observable fact is that in modern international English, there is no real consistent difference between will and shall when they are used to talk about the future. For every teacher you find who insists that will means X and shall means Y, I can find one who insists the opposite. And 1,000 educated native speakers from around the world who don't care. In my experience, most people use will for the future and shall for something else, which we will talk about separately when we look at how to ask questions. While we're on the subject, there's also no easily definable difference between I will, column 1, and I'm going to, column 1. If you prefer to use one for wish and one for intention, that's fine. But you choose. When you're listening to different English speakers around the world, you'll understand more from the context than from which form people use, because it varies from place to place and from teacher to teacher. So, it's the simplest way to talk about the general future. So let's leave the one in the middle for the moment, and we'll look at the point of time, X, in the future. This works in exactly the same way as the other X tenses, usually called the continuous tenses. We use the verb to be followed by one ing. It's in the future, so it's I will be working. You will be walking. He, she, or it will be flying. You will be arriving. We will be meeting. They will be landing. So, if the policeman asks you, what will you be doing at 3 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow? The answer is, I will be column 1-ing. So, is it very important to make this distinction? Well, it can be very occasionally. If you're talking to the police, for example, but usually, if you use the wrong one, doesn't matter. So relax. Okay, so what about the box in the future? Well, when we looked at the box in the past, the specified past, but not an exact point in the past, so the named past, we used column 2. Now, the good news about the equivalent in the future is that you can use, for example, tomorrow I will column 1. I will be column 1-ing, or even tomorrow I am column 1-ing. It's true. You can say tomorrow I will work. I will be working. I am working. And they're all perfectly good English. My advice is choose the form you prefer and only use that form. So, let's look again at the picture. Obviously, it's a good idea to be able to understand when people are talking about the future. But if you want to be confident when speaking, then the simplest way is to use I will column 1 for general or named future, and I will be column 1-ing when talking about a point of time or thinking about time as a point. I will visit my mother-in-law. It will finish before 10 o'clock. We will be there. He will cut the grass tomorrow. They will watch TV until their brains die. At 4 p.m, she will be meeting the professor. Next Thursday, we will be discussing politics. It will rain until Monday. He will learn English. He will learn English this year. He will be learning English on Sunday. Okay. Only 1 tense left. Take a break, then we can finish the picture.